Sophia and Liam had always loved exploring the unknown. Their latest adventure led them to an abandoned mine in a remote forest, rumored to be cursed. As they approached the rusted, decrepit elevator that once carried miners deep into the earth, Sophia felt a shiver run down her spine. Liam, always the daring one, insisted they descend. The elevator creaked and groaned as it lowered them into the darkness. Sophia clutched Liam's hand, feeling both excitement and fear. The air grew colder, and the only sound was the steady clank of the elevator's chains. When they reached the bottom, the doors slid open to reveal a narrow passage leading into a cave. Inside, the walls glistened with strange, luminous crystals that bathed the cavern in an eerie light. It was breathtaking, but something felt off. As they ventured deeper, Sophia felt as though they were being watched. The cave seemed to pulse with a life of its own, the air thick with an oppressive energy. Liam suddenly stopped, his face pale. "Do you hear that?" he whispered. Sophia listened, and her heart raced as she heard faint whispers echoing through the cave. They sounded like distant voices, calling, beckoning them further in. Against her better judgment, she followed Liam as he walked toward the source of the whispers. They reached a large chamber, where the crystals glowed brighter, casting ghostly shadows on the walls. In the center of the room stood a pool of still, black water. The whispers grew louder, almost frantic, as if warning them to stay away. But Liam, entranced by the beauty of the place, knelt by the water's edge. "Sophia, come look at this," he said, his voice distant, as if he were in a trance. Sophia hesitated, fear gripping her. But as she moved toward him, she saw something in the reflection of the water, an image of a woman, pale and gaunt, her eyes hollow and filled with sorrow. The woman's reflection turned and looked directly at Sophia, her lips moving silently. Before Sophia could react, Liam reached out to touch the water. The moment his fingers brushed the surface, the woman in the reflection smiled, a cruel, twisted smile. The water rippled, and suddenly, Liam was yanked into the pool by unseen hands. Sophia screamed, trying to pull him back, but he was dragged beneath the surface, his eyes wide with terror. The whispers turned into a deafening roar, and the cave began to shake. The crystals dimmed, plunging the chamber into darkness. In the pitch black, Sophia felt something cold and wet touch her arm. She turned, and there stood Liam, only it wasn't him. His eyes were hollow, his skin deathly pale. He reached out to her, his voice a ghostly whisper. "Stay with me, Sophia," he pleaded. "Forever." Sophia backed away, tears streaming down her face. "You're not Liam," she sobbed. But the thing that wore Liam's face smiled, a chilling, inhuman grin. "I am now," it whispered. Sophia turned and ran, stumbling through the darkness, the whispers chasing her. She reached the elevator and frantically pushed the button, praying it would still work. The doors creaked open just as the cave began to collapse around her. She threw herself inside, slamming the gate shut as the elevator lurched upward. As she ascended, Sophia could hear the whispers fading, but one last voice echoed in her mind, Liam's real voice, soft and sorrowful. "Forgive me, Sophia," it said. "I'll always love you." The elevator reached the surface, and Sophia staggered out, the cold night air hitting her like a wave. She looked back at the entrance of the mine, now sealed forever by the collapse. But as she stood there, gasping for breath, she felt a cold hand brush her shoulder. She turned, expecting to see nothing. But there, in the shadows, she saw Liam's figure, watching her with hollow eyes. "I'll always love you," he whispered again, before fading into the darkness, and from that day on, whenever Sophia was alone, she could feel his presence, always near, always watching, forever bound to the cursed cave below.